If you're listening right now, I want to begin with something simple and deeply important. I see you. I feel what you're carrying. And today, I want to speak not just to your ears, but to your heart. Losing a spouse is one of the most profound, disorienting, and life-altering experiences a person can endure. It's not just the absence of your partner. It's the loss of routines, shared laughter, purpose, the warmth in bed, the voice you knew by heart, the little rituals built over decades. And sometimes you even begin to lose sight of yourself. But I want you to hold on to this truth, and I need you to really hear it. You are still here. You are still breathing. And your life, even now, still holds beauty, value, and possibilities. You don't have to move on, but you can move forward. You can carry their love with you and still build something new. And that is not betrayal. That is growth. In this message, I want to gently share 5 truths, guiding lights to help you not just survive, but thrive in the next chapter of your life. These truths are not rules and they're not quick fixes. They are gentle reminders, drawn from the lives of real women, real loss, and real healing. Reminders of your strength, your dignity, and the joy you still deserve. So let's walk this path together. You are not alone. Truth 1. Don't drown in grief. Let it flow, then let it go. Grief is not weakness. Grief is love without a place to go. And when the person who held your world together is suddenly gone, that grief can feel unbearable. Like breathing itself is too much. Let me tell you about Mildred. She's 68, from a quiet town in Kentucky. She was married to her husband James for 42 years. They built a life, raised 2 kids, watched grandkids grow. Then one morning in October, she woke up and he was gone. She said, "It felt like someone unplugged my whole life. Even with the TV on, I could hear the silence." She went through the motions, cooked for 2 out of habit, kept his slippers by the bed, talked to his recliner during the news. She smiled in public, but inside, she was breaking. Then one afternoon, while watering the garden they once tended together, she whispered, "You wouldn't want me to wither like these roses, would you, James?" And that changed everything. She didn't stop grieving, but she started living while grieving. She began journaling, made a scrapbook of their life, joined a walking group for widows. Not to forget, but to remember with love instead of sorrow. So hear me, you are not wrong for what you feel. Cry when you must. Talk to the empty chair. Sleep on their side of the bed. There is no timeline, and no one, not even the kindest friends, gets to tell you when you should be over it. But this part is hard for many to accept. You can't live inside that grief forever. Staying buried in sorrow doesn't honor the love you had. It just buries you too. Would your partner want to see you stop eating, stop smiling, stop dreaming? Or would they say, "It's okay, love. Keep going. You're stronger than you think." Because the love you shared, it hasn't vanished. It's changed shape. It's quieter now, but it lives on in your memories, your strength, and the quiet courage it takes to keep going. Grief is like a wave. First, it knocks you off your feet. But if you allow yourself to feel it, breathe through it, eventually those waves soften, and one day you'll find yourself floating again. So what can you do? Wake up and put your feet on the ground, even if it's hard. Eat something nourishing, even if it's just toast. Step outside, feel the breeze, the sun, the rain. Let yourself cry, but smile too, when the memories bring warmth. Keep their photo on the wall. Talk to them in the kitchen, but also talk to yourself. Say, "I'm still here, and I am allowed to be happy again." You did not become half a person when you lost someone. You are still whole, still wise, still strong. And here's something else. You are allowed to become someone new. Softer, braver, quieter, louder. However grief reshapes you, it's okay. This is not the end of your story. You still have coffee to sip, books to read, sunsets to watch, love to give, laughter to hear. Let the grief flow. But when you're ready, gently, lovingly, begin to let it go. Not to forget, but to remember in a way that brings you life. Truth 2. Don't depend on your children for your happiness. When the world shifts, It's natural to cling to what's familiar, your children, your grandchildren. Their hugs, their voices, the feeling of being needed. But there's a difference between being loved by your children and building your whole emotional world around them. Let me introduce you to Diana, 72, a retired teacher in Seattle. When her husband passed, the silence in her house was crushing. So when her daughter invited her to move in, she said yes. At first, it was wonderful breakfast with the grandkids, chats in the kitchen, a sense of usefulness. But over time, the lines blurred. Her daughter was busy. Her son-in-law grew distant. The kids, now teens, barely looked up from their phones. Diana started to feel like a guest, one expected to help but not to need. She said, "I stopped asking for help. I stopped saying what I needed. I didn't want to be a burden, but I already felt like one." Eventually, she moved into a small senior apartment with a lake view. She cried the first week. Then she slept. She painted. She remembered, "I still have dreams of my own." So here's what I want you to know. It's okay to want closeness. But your joy can't depend on your children's time, mood, or availability. They love you, but they have their own lives, their own stress. That's not their fault. And it's not yours. Now, your energy needs to return to you. You're not selfish for wanting independence. You're not wrong for craving peace. Too many women stay in uncomfortable situations because they think it's the only way to feel safe or needed. But the truth is, you're still needed by yourself. Would you rather tiptoe in your daughter's kitchen or build a life of peace, freedom, and friendship? Being alone doesn't mean being lonely. Many women say they feel less lonely once they reclaim their independence. Decorate your space your way. Eat when you're hungry. Watch what you love. And yes, still see your family, hug your grandkids, celebrate holidays. But from a place of strength, not dependence. You've given your family everything. Now it's time to give something back, to yourself. You're not a burden. You're not forgotten. You are simply ready to live again, as the woman you choose to be. Truth 3. Make friends with solitude, don't run from it. After decades of sharing space, decisions, even silence, solitude can feel like a stranger. Some women fill every hour just to avoid that quiet. The radio always on, the TV humming, phone calls, errands, distractions. Anything to avoid the feeling of being alone. But what if solitude isn't something to escape, but something to explore? Meet Clara, 74, from Georgia. She used to hate the silence. She said, "I'd clean the whole house just to avoid sitting down. I'd fall asleep with the TV just to feel like someone else was there." One afternoon, she turned everything off. No noise, no plans. She made a cup of tea and sat on the porch. Just her and the wind. At first, the silence was deafening. But then she noticed things. The hum of cicadas, the smell of cut grass, the way the sunlight moved across her hands. And slowly it shifted. Solitude stopped feeling like a void and started to feel like a companion. So here's the truth. You're not lonely just because you're alone. Loneliness is the absence of connection. But solitude is the presence of yourself. There's a sacred kind of peace that comes when you stop fearing your own company. In that quiet space, you begin to hear your own voice again, not the voice of the wife or mother or caregiver, but you. Let yourself be still. Write in a journal. Take slow walks. Eat meals with candles and music. Even if it's just for one. Reclaim the joy of your own rhythm. You'll discover something remarkable. The more comfortable you become with solitude, the more magnetic you become to others. Because peace is powerful. And peace begins when you learn to sit with yourself and feel whole. Not missing, not lacking, but enough. Truth 4. Purpose doesn't retire, and neither should you. You may be done with careers, full calendars, raising families. But don't mistake that for being finished. You are not finished. If you are still breathing, there is still purpose in you. Joyce, 76, from Arizona, said something that stuck with me. After her husband passed, she sat alone for months. Then one day she looked at a photo of him and said, "You always told me I had more to give, so I'm going to give it." She signed up to read to children at a local school. At first, it was awkward. She doubted her energy, her usefulness. But within weeks, the kids were calling her Grandma Joyce. She brought life into that classroom. And for the first time in a long while, she felt alive again. Purpose doesn't have to mean starting a nonprofit or climbing a mountain. It might mean mentoring a young neighbor, learning to watercolor, joining a quilting circle, starting a garden, sharing wisdom, simply showing up. You don't need to be useful in the world's eyes to be meaningful. But here's the danger. If you wake up every day with no sense of purpose, the days begin to shrink. Energy fades. Life loses color. And that's not what your partner would want for you. That's not what you want for you. So ask yourself, what lights me up? Even just a little? Start there. Follow the spark. Because you still have light inside you, and the world still needs it. Truth 5. You can love again, in your own time, your own way. This one might be the hardest, or the most freeing. Many women say, I had my great love. That chapter is closed. And if that's how you feel truly deeply, then honor that. There is no rule that says love must come again. But don't close the door out of fear, or guilt, or pressure, because love comes in many forms. Friendship, laughter, companionship, even romance, if your heart softens to it. Lorraine, 80, lost her husband at 63. She swore she'd never date again. But at 75, she met George in a Tai Chi class. At first, they were just walking partners. Then they became coffee buddies. 2 years later, she told her daughter, he's not your dad, but he's good to me, and I like the way I feel when I'm around him. That's all it needs to be. You're not replacing anyone. You're not betraying anything. You're simply recognizing your heart is still capable of joy. Even if love now looks quieter, slower, simpler, it is still sacred. And if you never seek it again, that's okay too. But if you do, let it be on your terms. With no shame, with no need to explain. You are still worthy of affection, still worthy of connection, still worthy of a hand to hold, if that's what you desire. So let's bring it all together. Grief does not end you. You can live, not just exist after loss. You can find peace in your own company, strength in independence, purpose in every season, and even joy when you're ready. In new connections. You don't have to rush. You don't have to explain. You just have to believe this. You still matter. Your story is not over. This chapter, though painful, can still be powerful. So go ahead. Cry when you need to. Smile when you can. And take life one sacred step at a time. Because you are still here. And that means something beautiful is still possible.